10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Champions Belt Club podcast. I can't speak tonight. I'm your host, Jason Davis, and that's my co-host and my good friend, Mr. Tony T. How you doing tonight, Tony?
I am great, buddy. Happy to be here. Looking forward to another good show.
Awesome. We have a guest who's scheduled to join us this evening. We were hoping to feature Mr. Muhammad Arham from Hamyar Championship Belts. Of course, it is 5 a.m. over there in Pakistan, so we are trying to make sure that we can get a connection with him. So hopefully he's going to get in touch with us very soon and be able to join us imminently. But if he doesn't, we have lots of stuff to cover tonight, and we will have lots of great content for you regardless. But hopefully we'll be hearing from Arham very, very soon. Good evening, Scott.
That'll be good. I'm going to message him again.
Go for it.
Hello, Scott.
Chris, how's it going? Chris, how's it doing? Thanks for joining us. Cedric, what's up, buddy? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Hope everybody's having a great week. Everybody had a great weekend.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry. I'm doing two things at once and it's not working. So what's the news of the week, Jason?
Well, let me get into this. We'll get started here in just a minute here. So, So we had a few interesting things to get into this week. One of the very first things I wanted to sort of cover was the recent announcement by WWE of Roman Reigns and his title. Hang on here. I can pull up this graph. There we go. Roman has hit 1,029 consecutive days as Universal Champion. As of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which is imminently coming up. And when that happens, he will have passed Pedro Morales by 1,027 by 2 days. Pedro had 1,027 consecutive days as the WWF champion, followed closely by, in third place, 1,474 consecutive days with Hulk Hogan, 2,135 consecutive days with Bob Backlund, although that's arguable, depending on whether or not you count the Inoki title change in Japan. And then 2,803 consecutive days. Hey, Vincent, how's it doing? How's it going? And then, of course, the leader of the pack, Mr. Bruno Sammartino, with 2,803 consecutive days. Now, I had seen in quite a few chats, people were arguing that Roman's consecutive days don't count because he wasn't carrying the world championship for that entire time. That's just the Universal Championship that is contributing towards that title reign, or that title, the consecutive days of champion. and so it doesn't weigh against the other four gentlemen. I'm not sure in this day and age, with the way that the WWE uses their championships, if that is really as much consideration or really an issue. Whether it's the World Championship or the Universal Championship, they're really all just props when you think about it, and certainly that's how the WWE is treating the belts lately. What do you think, Tony?
I actually think it's bringing back some prestige to the title.
Hey, Jason, nice to see you, buddy.
I think it's bringing prestige. The consecutive days thing, it's the Universal title he's held the longest, which is
that. I mean, they're really, when they count the 1,029 consecutive days,
Yeah.
they're really talking about him holding that championship.
Yeah, because he got the heavyweight title. He's had that for, I think, 400 of these 1,000 days.
Somewhere in that area, yeah.
So, but I mean, at the end of the day, he had the two titles.
Yeah.
Right. And he's doing something that we've not seen in a long time, where he's doing something where he's whether the fans like it or not, he's creating interest and buzz in the props that are the belts. And you know, that's how you and I became friends. It's through belts, right? And it's making us talk about belts, and in that hobby, he's putting relevance on it. And it's ironic because my wife just got me this for Father's Day.
Right on. Here, let me pull you up here.
Yeah, there we are. This book, the championship, the greatest title in sports entertainment. And in this book, it actually has the list of the longest days. And it shows the different runs. Pedro Morales is featured in this, along, you know, who Roman just passed. It's great. They talk about every champion that held it. And ironically, Andre the Giant's in here, even though, now, did they change it? Did he officially have the title?
Andre was never officially recognized as world champion. He's not recognized in the official lineage, no.
Because he is in here in this book, which is a WWE book, which is quite
interesting.
Like, yeah, it's right here. You can't, and it says you can't buy a title.
There you go.
But and when you look at the days held, he is the shortest reign because he. Anyways, that's a topic for a whole nother show.
Yeah, that's a controversial. He held it for like a minute. Cedric said, yeah. So I don't think most people count that within the lineage. It's an interesting conversation. We've talked about it here in the show before. That with the way that they're booking Roman now, they've essentially tied the world championship, the former world championship, not the current new world championship, the former world championship, which dates back to Buddy Rogers and the WWF split from the NWA.
Correct.
That championship has essentially been absorbed into the Universal title when they unified the two titles together and gave Reigns the new belt. So technically, that lineage transfers over to the Universal title. So I know a lot of people have been arguing, but he can't hold a candle to the other guys. What has he done for this era is great. It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not defended his belt enough. Like, to me, like, and you read a lot of that, the comments, people saying that he's not a fighting champion. He's not defending his title a lot.
Hey, Norn, welcome to the show, man. I'm sorry your foot's hurt. I hope you're okay. He's in the foot, waiting to get his foot checked right now. He's listening to us to keep himself company. So glad you can hang out with us. And I'm sorry your foot's bothering you, bud. I hope it feels better.
Nor's a nice fella.
He's a nice dude. Yeah, as I was saying before, I was saying, like, technically right now, the way that they book Roman, he is technically carrying the lineage, even though it's not recognized as the world title anymore. It's now the Universal Unified Championship. That belt has absorbed the lineage of the former world championship that dates back to Buddy Rogers and the NWA.
Yeah.
Technically. So, I mean, when you count those 1,000 whatever it was days for Roman, technically he wasn't the world champion when he was carrying it, but he has now absorbed the world championship lineage. So so in a way, I guess that sort of transfers over to his consecutive reign dates as well, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, in the world of made up belt lineages and professional wrestling props. I'm not sure how serious anybody should take this stuff, but there you go.
Yeah.
It's kind of important to us because we care about belts, but I'm not sure the WWE cares as much as we do.
We care about it because we created a show, but we do have other things we care about more.
Yes.
Let's make that clear.
Let's hope.
Yes.
Mark says, wouldn't be surprised if he goes on to surpass Hogan's title reigns. Yeah, I was actually just saying that to Tony before the show. I think I can see the Hogan. Yeah, I can see the Hogan record being broken for sure, because I could see them carrying this storyline on at least till the next WrestleMania with Roman. I don't know if a modern audience has the attention span to go much longer than that, so I don't think Bruno's record's in any danger. But I guess we'll see.
I mean, you never know, right? You can never tell.
Yeah. Well, they're always gonna, in a lot of ways, they may just program against whatever we think is coming. So
yeah,
just to keep us guessing.
And
so.
it's creating that buzz and interest and people talking about it, which, for business is good, right?
Great.
Yeah.
Controversy puts butts in seats. So
yeah, absolutely.
The next thing I was going to cover was, of course, the big, massive pay-per-view yesterday at AEW. The Forbidden Door was the second joint pay-per-view between New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW. And we had a few NWA wrestlers show up as well as a nice surprise, which was kind of cool. So we had scheduled matches we had a 4-way between Orange Cassidy, Shibata, Jack Sabre Jr., and Daniel Garcia. Certainly quite a few well-recognized technical wrestlers. Jack Sabre's considered one of the best in the world right now, really honestly. We had a title match, Women's World Championship match between AEW's champion Toni Storm and the recently crowned New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong champion Willow Nightingale. Came and showed up and had a match. We had a 3-way match between Sting, Darby Allin, and Naito against Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara. We had the first round of the Owen Hart tournament between CM Punk and Kojima. We had the Blackpool Combat Club essentially against the Elite. And then we had Jack Perry going up against the current IWGP World Champion Sonata. We had MJF, AEW's current world champion, going up against Tanahashi. We had Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, Part 2. And then we had Bryan Danielson going up against Okada. I can never say his first name. Whatever. Okada. I'll leave it at that. I'm not even going to try. It's one of those nights I just can't get the words out.
The thunderstorm.
Yeah, I'm going to blame it on the thunderstorm.
Who did Jungle Boy go against?
Jungle Boy went up against Sonata, who's the current world champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So some really amazing matches. The Kenny Omega Will Ospreay match was unbelievable, and the Bryan Danielson Okada match was unbelievable. If you guys haven't had a chance to check the pay-per-view out, I would definitely go check out those two matches. They were match of the year contenders, both of them for sure. Bryan Danielson broke his arm in the first 10 minutes of the match and went on to continue to wrestle and did a 20 more minutes of match with a broken arm. It was a hell of a performance. Will Ospreay had one of the best performances of his career, I think, honestly, on that pay-per-view, and Kenny Omega was a great dance partner for him. So lots of great for a match with a lot of high spots and a lot of action. Still a lot of great psychology. The rivalry between them has been really great storyline carrying over from New Japan and into AEW, and it was really a hell of a match. Yeah, it was really great. So we had MJF winning his match. He was oddly the first match of the evening. But he went on to win. CM Punk defeated Kojima and won his bracket in the Owen Hart tournament. Wouldn't be surprised at all if they let Osprey Omega 2 was like a battle of two superheroes. Phenomenal match. Yeah, I agree, Mark. It was really something. It's definitely one to check out if people haven't seen it yet. Orange Cassidy went over as the AEW International Champion, but they definitely set up a return match with Jack Sabre, which would be phenomenal. A great match. I'm a huge fan of his, so really enjoying his work. Sonata went over Jungle Boy. No huge surprise there. The big surprise of the night with Jungle Boy is that they flipped him heel, and he attacked his partner Hook after the match. He's been getting a lot of negative press outside of the TV and the ring work in some of his interviews and at some of the wrestling conventions. Apparently, he's not the most approachable guy, and so he's been getting a lot of negative press in the dirt sheets. And so I think they saw an opportunity to sort of play off that stuff, and they've decided to roll him into the heel role. Might be a natural or a better fit for him. So we'll see. We'll see what it does for his career going forward. Might be a pretty good fit, though.
I can't stand Jungle Boy.
Hook's on his way to WWE, from what I hear. Maybe.
They're about
possible.
to make in WWE pretty quick here.
Yeah.
So that'll be. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
So it'll be interesting to see how that helps or hurts Jungle Boy's career going forward. The Elite went over the Blackpool Combat Club. Okay match, typical, just a lot of bodies moving and a lot of quick pins. Tony Storm won against the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong champion Nightingale, and then again that IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship match with Will Ospreay was awesome. And then we had it was actually a really nice nostalgic moment. We had Sting, Darby Allin, and Naito, and Sting came out with his return to the Joker character from Impact Wrestling that he had in Impact Wrestling. So it was kind of cool to see that come back. And then, of course, Bryan Danielson went over against Okada, Kazuchika Okada. There, I did it against the lightning stopped.
There you go.
There you go. Taz has been in talks with WWE being interested in Hook, but you never know. Yeah, maybe. Possible. Definitely possible. But again, it was a hell of a match. I think a lot of people were wondering how good that match could be between Danielson and Okada. Danielson's certainly not in his prime anymore, but it lived up to the hype. It was a hell of a match. Really, really great. So great psychology, great intensity.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta check them out. I did see the Jungle Boy stuff, but I missed it. It was just, sometimes I just don't stay up to watch this stuff, and I don't have a DVR to record it.
You can always sort of find playbacks. If you look hard enough online, you can find this stuff. It's out there.
Yeah, work and
definitely.
The family kind of got in the way of that when we watching it. So maybe I can watch it tonight after.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking those two matches out for sure, though. Yeah. And then today in wrestling history, I wanted to cover a little bit some momentous things happening today in the history of pro wrestling. On this date in 1976, June 26th, in fact, of 1976, we had the War of the Worlds. It was Muhammad Ali going up against Japanese professional wrestler Antonio Inoki at the Nippon Budokan Arena in Tokyo, Japan. 1976. Can you imagine?
The Beatles played there.
Yeah.
I actually was 2 months old when this match happened, so I don't remember it.
Not crazy.
Yeah, I've read about it. I've heard about it. Growing up, I heard about it, but yeah. And then we also have 1990 Legion of Doom debuted.
1990, July 15th, 1990, on an episode of Wrestling Challenge, the former Road Warriors were repackaged as the Legion of Doom and made their debut on WWE TV, which was an odd. I think people to this day are still a little confused by it. They called them the Legion of Doom, but they referred to them individually as Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal.
Yeah, it was weird that they called them Legion of Doom and couldn't keep the name. But I guess the NWA or WCW, who would have had the rights to the Road Warriors name?
I think it probably had more to do with I think they saw a marketing cash cow in the Legion of Doom. They knew that they were gonna be able to
Yeah.
do the figures and the T-shirts and the lunch boxes and everything else. And I think it's just really about being able to own that name.
It's funny because I remember the Legion of Doom as the supervillains in the Super Friends cartoon.
Super Friends cartoon, yeah, absolutely, yeah. But it's funny because they call them Legion of Doom, but they still referred to them
Yeah.
individually as Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal. So they never
And,
really got rid of the Road Warrior title. So
and didn't they at one point call them like the Road Warrior, the Legion of Doom, and then the Road Warriors? Like they used both names.
that's impossible. I didn't look it up, but that's definitely I don't. Maybe somebody in the audience can tell us. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case or not.
My fondest memories of them is reading the Pro Wrestling Illustrated and seeing them. And
Yeah.
a little wrestling nostalgia history here. Not really history, I guess, if it's not. Anyways, I was a kid and I read those Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazines, and I was a big Demolition guy, and I only watched WWF, right? So everything I read about in the magazines, I was like, what is all this stuff? And there I saw Legion of Doom, and I thought, man, these tag teams, like the Powers of Pain, Demolition, Legion of Doom. I was like, wouldn't it be amazing if they were all in the WWE together, or WWF at the time together? And yeah, I thought they all three we just looked so menacing, so overpowering. And then as you get older and you learn the history, you know, they had the amazing run of the AWA, the NWA, like they were all over uh, the territories and just destroying people, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And just such an influential, powerful tag team. I don't think their run in the WWE was as good, but they definitely were arguably the greatest tag team ever.
They never really booked them the same way in the WWF as they did.
Yeah,
Yeah, WWE called the LOD. Every other company called them Road Warriors. They never really let them be the world beaters in the WWF that they were in the end. The way they booked them in the AWA and the NWA, where they really just sort of squashed everybody.
yeah,
Yeah, they just didn't really they didn't book them that way. So it's just they didn't have the same kind of mystique in the WWF that they kind of had everywhere else. So
yeah. I mean, when they got there too, and I mean, you look, and they were also part of that. Sorry, actually, I want to say this. They were part of one of my all-time favorite pay-per-views. They were the heels at In Your House in Calgary.
right, when going against the Hart Foundation
Yes, they were
with Austin and
Shamrock
Shamrock
and
and
West.
yeah.
That
Yeah,
five-man tag is one of my all-time favorites. I
yeah.
can watch that match. I absolutely love it. And the Road Warriors are part of it. So there you go. Tie that
There
in.
you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have to acknowledge the passing of at 71 years old of the original first recognized WWF champion, former NWA champion Buddy Rogers, who was, of course, the gentleman who Ric Flair patterned himself after, borrowing both his look and his finisher, the figure four leg lock. First time recognized WWF World Champion in 1963, and he won 13 World Championships, including the NWA World Title.
I got him here in that book that I was mentioning earlier. There he is, Buddy Rogers.
There he is.
Yeah, 2 pages full of them. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
I actually have. I have a couple of the WWF, the WWF titles. And I have the blue velvet one with the black and gold. Is that the one he held?
I think that's the Bruno that you're talking about, the velvet, the blue velvet.
Okay, that's the Bruno. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the Bruno.
Because Bruno also held the he also held this one too, the Backlund style one, because that's what he when Billy Graham took it from him. That was the title, right? So yeah, Bruno, longest running champion. Look how this all runs together. Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that cool? Vincent telling us Road Warriors were big in Montreal beginning in the 80s. Yeah, they were huge in a lot of the territories. They really were, and they were traveling. They were everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, they were wrestling everywhere. So
fighting champions when they had the straps on them.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. Cool. All right. So it doesn't look like Arham's going to be able to join us tonight just because we haven't been able to get in touch with him. So, and then we're just going to chalk that up to the fact that it's 5 a.m. in Pakistan. And so we apologize if we can't make that happen tonight, but we'll certainly try to make it happen again in the future sometime. So maybe it's time to move on to the belt of the week. There we go. So which belt did you want to share with us this week, Tony?
Absolute beast. I'm just cleaning it up here a little bit because it's a bit dusty. It is a beast of a belt. Oh my God, it's caught on my Apple Watch. The TNA Wildcat. This was made by Muhammad Arham.
Nice.
It's supposed to be on here tonight. Got a nice big belt tip on it. This belt's awesome. It's a true beast of a belt. You hear people say that. And yeah, I remember when I first saw this on TNA, I thought, man, like it's cool because it kind of reminded me of the big gold belt, right? Like,
let me pull that up here for you. There you go.
Yeah. So I love this belt.
Yeah, that's a beautiful title.
Oh yeah, I think it's a great one. One of the nicest. No, it's definitely one of the nicest titles, I think, and the way they presented it with the TNA on it like that. Total nonsense.
Yeah. Well, here, actually, let me...
Now Impact Wrestling.
Formerly TNA Wrestling. So here's a little graphic that kind of go along with that. Vincent loves the belt. Scott says, beautiful belt, Tony. Yeah, it is a really beautiful belt. So the belt actually was introduced by Sting on March 14th, 2011, who was at that time the current reigning champion, on an episode of Impact. The belt was in use from 2011 to 2017. It is currently in the current Impact Wrestling belt lineage. The Wildcat version of the title was their longest used title at 9 years, followed by the current version, which has been in use for 5.
I have both versions. I have the current version and also made by Muhammad Arham. I could have brought it. You know what? I should have brought it on tonight. I could have.
That's all right.
Shared it, but anyhow.
And TNA's longest consecutive world championship reign is currently held by Bobby Roode, and it was that particular title that he held.
Yeah, I saw a great pic of him wearing this, and I thought, Jesus, it's a big looking belt. So I don't know what this isn't the biggest belt in my collection. The strap's long on it. It's one of the longest straps. It's because of the big side plates on it and stuff. It is a big belt. And when I saw Bobby Roode wearing it, it looked like a monster belt on him.
And do you have any other belts that have more plates on them than that? That's a 7-plater. So
that's a damn good question. Now I'm gonna have to look.
Yeah, I think it might be one of the bigger in your collection in terms of overall plates, because there aren't very many belts that match that.
The main plate itself is quite big. I should get if I had a measuring tape, I could tell you what it is. But it's not. I don't think it's as big as the big gold. And I have an AWA inmate that's a lot bigger. But that one might be too big, so I don't know.
Cool. So some of the really, it's got this belt. This particular belt has some really impressive lineage of wrestlers that have carried it. Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson, Jeff Hardy, and Matt Hardy. Sting, of course, who introduced the belt. Kurt Angle. James Storm, Bobby Roode, Drew Galloway, Austin Aries, Bully Ray, AJ Styles, Magnus, Bobby Lashley, EC3, just to name a few, many others as well. I mean, it's really a pretty prestigious list of names. So Kurt Angle, yep.
Did Kurt Hennig win this?
Kurt Angle. Sorry, did I say Hennig? I meant to say Kurt
Oh
Angle.
no, you said when we were talking earlier, you said Kurt Hennig, and I didn't know that. So,
Oh, I'm sorry, Kurt Angle. Yeah, Kurt Angle.
You did say Kurt Angle this time when we were backstage, though.
Okay. Yeah. So
and I was like, man, that's awesome because I love that guy. But I don't know if he passed.
Kurt Angle. No, he was passed. Yeah. So that's really pretty impressive. I enjoy the Wildcat better than any of the other belts they've had, other than when they used the NWA Dome Globe.
Yeah, this thing, I like this one best compared to the NWA one was nice. I didn't like the one. I think they call it the Midwest or something version.
Yep, the Midwest version. Yeah,
it's okay. It's not. It's definitely not the worst belt I've seen, but it was by far their worst title that TNA's used, I think.
There you go.
And I like how Kenny Omega, like they had a storyline recently that brought this belt back into prominence recently when Kenny Omega took the Impact title, and he had this one too for some reason, and I can't remember why. It was the Impact champion was challenged by, I think, was it Moose that had the TNA title, and they were arguing over who was the real champ. That was a neat storyline. Okay, tell me.
What is the worst belt you have seen? What is your least favorite belt of all the belts you've seen over the years in the hobby? What do you think is the least appealing belt?
So, oh man, that is a good question. Most least appealing belt.
Vincent, I think it's Vincent said yes, Moose.
Yeah, Moose. Cedric, that's a great question. I'm gonna have to think about that. The worst. Oh man, well, I don't like the network logo belts. They've grown on me, but I still think like they're pretty bad, right? Like we're all in agreement. The worst. Okay, actually no, Cedric. The worst belt I've ever seen, the spinner. I fucking hate the spinner. I don't acknowledge it. I despise the spinner belt. And the reason it took me a while was because I like to surround myself with positivity, and that belt makes me angry and negative. I'll never own a spinner. I hate them. The U.S. spinner and the World Heavyweight title is a spinner. Fucking
there you
terrible.
go. Yeah. There you go. Not just terrible. Fucking terrible.
Yeah. Like even the Edge Canadian, who I love, R-rated spinner, no, absolute garbage. I hate it.
There you go. I would say,
Scott enjoys a spinner. Well,
network logo sucks, but I enjoy the spinner. There you go.
I'm disappointed in you, Scott. No, you can have a different it's okay.
Not a big fan of the network logos. That's never really grown on me. So I haven't broken down and invested in one of those.
I did, and having them in person, and like actually, I'll tell you this: I had on my dresser in the room I sleep in, I have the NWA, the Fandu one, the really nice one by Fandu. I have the MLW title because I absolutely love that title. Mm-hmm. And then I have the AEW world title because I think that's just gorgeous with the light hits the Swarovski gems. Gorgeous. And I had Big Gold beside it because those were like my 4 belts I loved looking at. But I took the Big Gold out. I had the Lux for the show we had with Gary. And I put my network logo belt there, the black one, the heavyweight title. And it actually looked really good with those other belts. I thought, man, that's like, it's grown on me because I fucking hated that network logo. But like, I don't like the red Universal at all. Blue I like. And the new one, I'm just disappointed because I didn't put any creativity into it, right? The Undisputed Universal one. So anyways, I digress.
They phoned that one in for sure.
Yeah, totally.
I'm pretty ambivalent about the spinner. I don't really hate it or love it. It looks more like a title than the network logo to me, but it's not. You know, I wouldn't spend the money to buy it personally. So,
I want to scratch a logo that came before. Yeah, did he own? Is that the Rock's version, Scott, that you have? Is that what he means?
Before I'm not sure.
I own the
scratch logo that came before the NL, and I stopped at that.
Yeah, so he's talking about the one that The Rock had.
The debut belt.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one's cool. I might get that for my collection. I don't know. My wife's in the room. She'd probably say, no, you're not getting it. But well, I actually have a bunch of belts I'm going to sell this week, so we'll see. Anyways.
Well, could be worse than the purple IC oval IC belt. That belt is hideous.
You mean those up there? Over there? I have 2 ovals up there. Block logo and network and scratch logo.
In particular, the purple.
I love the purple. That purple. Are you fucking kidding me, Cedric?
Shots fired. Shots fired.
This is how our show rolls. You think this is ugly? That purple leather, that beautiful oval. No, I think he's wrong. Cedric, you're wrong, my friend.
Ta-da! Ta-da!
Oh yeah, the Attitude Era belts are great.
There you go.
No, I like this. I look, Cedric, I'm joking with you. This is a pretty ugly belt. Like when it debuted, I was disappointed because you went from like the nicest look. I hate you, Tony. No, friends. I'm agreeing with you. You went from the nicest IC total title to this. Like it's but I do like the purple leather. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera. Might
No. No. She wasn't ready.
Oh God, that's just wrong. Oh my God.
Nice, cool, awesome. We're getting a little sidetracked here. All right, so it's probably time to move on to quiz of the day. Let me just cue that up. All right, so this quiz of the day features actually a wrestler that is tied to your belt that you just featured today. This wrestler is known to have won the WWE Championship, the ECW World Championship, the WWE Intercontinental Championship, the WWE United States Championship, TNA Impact World Heavyweight Championship, TNA King of the Mountain Championship, TNA X Division Championship, IWS Heavyweight Championship, and the AWF Tag Team Championship. I would say the ECW and the TNA Impact and the WWE Championship are the big giveaways on this guy.
I know who it is.
So we'll give everybody at home watching a few seconds.
Yeah.
And if you think you know who it is, throw it in there. Scott's going with RVD.
Huh.
RVD.
That's a good guess.
That's not a bad guess. That's not a bad guess at all, actually. I could see how we could go with that. WWE champion, ECW champion, WWE Intercontinental in the United States, TNA Impact. I don't think RVD ever won King of the Mountain Championship, the TNA King of the Mountain Championship. Definitely won the X Division, and he did win the World Championship.
Oh, Scott's changed his vote to Kurt Angle.
Scott's going to Kurt Angle.
No, Kurt Angle's list would be longer.
Yeah, Kurt's a little longer.
I know who it is, and I'm excited.
Any other answers out there in the internet? We'll give everybody one more chance here.
Is Cedric still watching? I think I pissed him off.
You're close. You're close. I'm sure. Oh, Cedric's there. I'm sure. All right. What do you think it is, Mr. Tony Thorpe?
Bobby Lashley.
Correct.
Yeah! I love Bobby Lashley. He is.
Take a lap. Take a lap. Nice.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love Bobby Lashley. Like, I'm a big fan of his. When I first saw him debut, I was like, that's what a wrestler should look like. That's what a wrestler should be. Like, he's a beast of a dude.
Yeah, he is, and he can go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I enjoy watching his work. I do. I'm not gonna, him and Drew McIntyre had some good matches.
Yeah, and actually, in our conversation last week with Gary, reminding us that faction of his with MVP.
Yeah.
in WWE. Probably one of the biggest missed opportunities that they've had in a faction in a while. So yeah,
Oh, easily. The
yeah,
popularity they had, like,
yeah,
I love the Hurt Business. I thought
yeah,
that was awesome. Like, they looked so good in their suits, and they were kicking ass. They were holding gold. Like, yeah, man.
yeah, yeah. WWE champion, ECW, WWE's version of ECW world champion, WWE IC champion, WWE United States champion. He said, "Wow, didn't know he won the X Division Championship. Was that on his return from Strikeforce?" Yes, sir. Yeah, it was. He was actually carrying all three belts at one time at the same time.
Huh.
TNA champion, of course, King of the Mountain, and the X Division champion. He was also IWS heavyweight champion and AWF,
What
which
is
are
oh, go
sort.
ahead.
Go ahead.
What is the IWS?
IWS. That's a good question. Let me tell you.
Are you Googling it? Oh, man.
I'm just going to pull it up for you real quick.
Okay.
So that is IWS is the Italian wrestling superstar.
Oh, wow.
So that would have been a European tour on the independents that he was doing.
Okay. That's cool.
There you go. Speaking of Intercontinental Champions, we happen to be running an Intercontinental Champion tournament in the page. We do this Friday Fantasy Tournament every Friday, where you guys vote and you decide who goes forward in the matchups. We have just completed, I believe, matchup number, what are we on? Matchup number 6 we just completed. So Gunter got beat by Mr. Perfect. No huge shock there, I don't think. Mr. Perfect's considered one of the greatest of all time IC champions. Gunther has certainly brought a lot of prestige back to the title over the last year and a half.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure people perceive him as an equal to Mr. Perfect, and obviously they don't, or he would have placed a little better than he did. So we're moving on.
I thought he may have won. I thought he may have had a chance to win.
I thought he might be the underdog. Sort of, he might be the dark horse in the race. Honestly, when he got placed in the tournament, but he didn't quite make it through first round. So, although there is that wild card spot, he could come back and take it. It's possible.
Yeah, he could get those votes because I mean, I did have a tough time. I vote every week, and I had a tough time voting. I love Mr. Perfect. I did vote for Mr. Perfect. And this was probably since you started posting these fantasy bookings, this was the hardest one I had to vote for.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup because I think stylistically, Gunther, the way he wrestles, would have been a great foil for a technical wrestler. But I think people saw I think the nostalgia of Mr. Perfect and also the respect and the
100%, yes.
Yeah, so not a huge surprise. So far in the matchups, we've had Rick Rude against Razor Ramon. Razor won that matchup and went forward. The Miz went up against the Hitman. Hitman went forward on that matchup. Eddie Guerrero against Shawn Michaels. And we were pretty surprised to see Shawn Michaels get eliminated by Eddie Guerrero and went forward. We had Y2J against the Macho Man. Y2J got eliminated. Macho Man moved forward. We had Honky Tonk Man going up against Owen Hart. Owen won that matchup. And we've just had Gunther going up against Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect won that tournament. So now we're moving to the second round of our brackets. And we have Razor Ramon this week going up against Bret Hitman Hart. And that's going to be the matchup coming up this Friday for the Friday Fantasy Booking Tournament. What are you thinking on this one? Who do you think goes ahead on this one?
I think Bret goes ahead.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. But I'll tell you what. They gave us some of the greatest Intercontinental matches in 92, 93, 94. They had some matches that were just awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you and I know I'm a huge Hart fan and I love his work. I'm also a huge Scott Hall fan as well and love his stuff. I think there's definitely a nostalgia for Razor Ramon in the IC tournament. So it might be interesting to see. That's going to be probably a hard vote for quite a few people.
Oh,
certainly.
I'm voting Bret Hart because I love Bret, and I just think he's one of my all-time favorites. Him and Hulk Hogan. I know they're completely different styles, but they're my two favorites. I know they don't like each other in real life, but
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't say that, I guess, but I love Bret Hart, and I just love his work. So my vote is always going to be with him.
Right on. All right, my friend. I think it is actually time for us to get to your collector's corner.
Sounds good, dude.
All right. What are you going to share with us this week, my friend?
So I made a custom figure, and it ties into our little intercontinental theme that we're doing here. So back when we were kids in the 1980s, you would get this LJN of the Honky Tonk Man. And he actually looks more like Elvis Presley than he did the Honky Tonk Man. He did, the likeness to Honky is not very good. And he was like, when you played with him, he was stuck in this stupid outfit, right?
Yeah.
I'll put a nice Intercontinental title on him because he's one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time.
Longest reigning Intercontinental champion of all time.
Gunther hasn't passed him yet, has he?
Not yet. No, not yet.
I created, and here's his guitar. I created my own Honky Tonk Man with in ring, and I painted him myself. Put the IC title on him. Now this one might have a bit more muscles than Honky had, but you know he's got the perfect the look here.
Yeah, Honky wished he had that 12-pack.
Yeah. So this is actually the Dynamite Kid.
Right on.
But I put hair. I gave him a pompadour, and I painted sideburns on him to make him the Honky Tonk.
Oh, that's amazing! Nice job, man.
So you see, he had no pompadour to having a pompadour.
So again, is the pompadour something that you would mold and make yourself, or is it something that you would purchase or
epoxy? You take the two pieces of epoxy, you work them together, and then I just place it on there. And then I take I have different tools for sculpting it, so I can give it some detail. You can see the hair to give it the detail.
Very nice job, Cedric says.
Yeah. So
right on.
Yeah, and I hand painted the guitars on him.
That's phenomenal.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it looks great.
The little music notes on his knee pads that he had.
And yet you had a guitar done for him too?
No, this guitar came. So this guitar was the only thing that was cool about this. It came with this Honky Tonk Man. He could hold it, right?
Oh, right on.
So you could pretend to hit Macho Man over the head,
all right.
Saturday Night's Main Event. But
what wave of LJN figures did they start releasing? Because Jake the Snake had the snake too, right?
The figures had.
Did they all have sort of extras with them?
Yeah, not all of them. Not every character that came out did, but a lot did. Roddy Piper had a kilt. Ms. Elizabeth had a skirt. Coco Beware. I think Coco Beware is behind me. He had Frankie. Yeah. Classy Freddie Blassie had a cane. So did Mr. Fuji. They both had canes. Hillbilly Jim had a hat. Yeah, there's a bunch of different accessories. What I hated is that when you got Honky Tonk Man, we also got $1 Million Man in his suit, which is somewhere up there. Harley Race had his jacket on. So it was kind of, they weren't as fun because they weren't in ring. So
they weren't in ring gear. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we would get the British Bulldogs as a tag team.
Hey, Max.
Oh, Max.
How you doing, brother? Yeah, we need to get Max on here. He can stay awake.
Wake up Arham. Yeah, when you see Arham at the market, tell him he was supposed to be on our show.
Yeah, at that famous Pakistani flea market.
Yeah, I think it's an actual market, Mar. I don't think it's a flea market.
I think that's what they called it last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Max, is it?
I'm sure it's a real market,
or just a market? Because I think there is a difference. I believe.
Probably.
Flea market is secondhand gear. Their market is more like the market, which is like their. Anyways, I digress. We're splitting hairs on something.
Max says, "Yep, met him a few times."
Yeah, well, he was supposed to be on our show today, Max, and he
bailed.
He stayed asleep. He did not wake up to get on. So, Max, how about
which
we invite you?
is fair because I realize it's like really early your time. So
Yeah, it's what is it? 5? It's 10 o'clock.
it's
6
coming
a.m.
up on 6 a.m. there now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Max, we got to get you on this show. I mean, he does come on at close to 6. So, yeah, holidays are coming too. I think it's called EID.
Yeah, we definitely get to get you on here, Max. Feature some of your belts and have you talk a little bit about your wrestling experience and stuff you've gone through. We'd love to have you on here. I'd love for people to hear your story.
Yeah, let's book Max on while we're here live. Max, commit to us next week or else
Publicly.
we put on the scammers list. Oh no, that's too funny.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have you on, brother.
We'd
love to have you on. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. That's again another killer figure. That was pretty friggin' awesome. So
yeah, they take a lot of friggin' time to do that too. Like you gotta after you paint them, you put the Mod Podge on them and stuff. But I just figured, and he sits on the shelf. The guitar actually will kind of rest in his hand, and it sits perfectly there when he's just behind me here. Actually, he's one of the figures that you would typically see. He's usually right here by Kerry Von Erich. So I usually keep him right there with the guitar.
Right on. Nice.
He's gone home.
Well, that's everything I was going to cover tonight, man. So we can just have a conversation with people here in the chat and call it a night. So anything anybody wants to talk about or have any questions, anything about belts or about the wrestling hobby going on right now or anything in wrestling in general anybody wants to talk about, we'd be happy to answer if we can, or at least talk about it.
Share our opinions.
Sure, absolutely.
Share our thoughts. Anyone? You should get the Jeopardy music going. Or what is that? Was it not Jeopardy? Is it Jeopardy that had Jeopardy, the final Jeopardy music? That would be hilarious. There you go. Oh wait, yeah. There we are. Anyone?
Progress right now.
I don't actually have anything in progress. Scott says, much love and respect to Max McGall. That's very
absolutely
nice.
Max, a good guy.
That's very nice too. So
I just actually I haven't had time to get it out and actually do some photos or videos of it because I've been so busy in real life with the career and everything lately. But I just picked up a version 3 UFC championship from Unique Spirits, he did a beautiful job on it. It's a really nice belt.
Did you receive it?
Yeah, got it already. Just haven't had time to really even look at it. So, because I've been so busy. So, and I'm just about to order. Max doesn't know this yet, but I'm just about to put an order in with Max for the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Openweight Championship. I'm going to ask Max to make that for me.
And let's hope you get this one.
So, wink, wink, Max, come on the show.
Show it. Well, show us, Jason. I mean, the fans are asking for it, Jason.
All right. Hang on, guys. Give me a sec. I'll go grab it. Give me a sec.
Yep, absolutely. So it's just me, folks. I'm going to be here talking about belts while Jason goes and grabs his newest one. So anyone, do you guys have anything coming? Cedric, do you have any belts in progress right now? What about you, Scott? You got any new belts coming? Max, you creating any new custom belts that are going to be shown soon? Just getting into the belt collecting hobby and learning that the chase for the IWBG4 is hard to come by. Any recommendations for a good maker? Well, Mark, I happen to have that belt. I just took a picture of it. I got mine made by Muhammad Arham. Max McGulls, who's in this chat right now, he could make a good one. There's a bunch of good makers out there that can make that belt.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, this thing is heavy as hell. So give me a sec here. See if I can get this up here and not knock my microphone and everything out of the way. There we go.
Wow. That's awesome.
So we've got pretty decent leather, really, honestly. Very nice.
That's Unique Spirit that made that.
This is Unique Spirit that made this.
Is that the one that Conor McGregor held, or is that more like?
Yeah, so this would have been before the company that was taken over with the new management. So this would have been sort of in the older version of the belt.
That's a beautiful.
So this would have been like Anderson Silva would have been carrying this, and George St. Pierre would have carried this. Those guys in that era.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so just picked this up recently. It's been so crazy. I really haven't had time to enjoy it or look at it much. But yeah, that's been my latest acquisition. And thanks, guys. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, guys. So yeah, it's heavy. It's probably about 12 pounds. It feels like. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah, and so yeah, that's been my latest. But I'm definitely gonna try to get my hands on that New Japan Pro Wrestling open weight titles. I'm still on my list of belts to get.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be putting an order in with Max soon. Definitely recommend Max. He does great work. Unique does great work. Arham does great work when he can get out of bed. Got to zing the guy.
Think he'll even watch? Oh, my
yeah,
wife,
for sure.
I thought I just checked my phone and I thought could have been Arham, but no.
Yeah.
It was the wife.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things. Mark was asking about getting into the belt collecting hobby and learning. Learning this or that is hard to come by. Any recommendation for a good maker? That's definitely a belt you want to get a reputable maker to make you, because you want somebody that knows how to sort of build you a solid belt that isn't going to fall apart on you and be an issue, because that has a lot of depending on how you decide to get it made. But most people go with 3 to 4 layers on that belt. So
yeah,
you definitely want to have somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I recommended to him that I had mine done by Arham. He did a really good one.
Right on.
Max made that belt. There's some good makers out there.
Yeah, my version that I had was made by Arham, who was going to be on tonight, wasn't able to make it. And it's one of the best belts in my collection, honestly. So
yeah,
it's beautiful.
And you got that before I knew you, I think.
I think just as we met, I picked that up, and it's definitely one of my. I mean, it was one of my favorite belts. It was definitely one of my. I'm looking down this way because it's over there on the floor.
Nice.
On my trophy case. Hey, Johnny. It was definitely one of my holy grails when I got into the hobby. So it was what I wanted to have. Yeah, for sure. You want to be able to, and also the etching and the
names on the side plates,
clarity of it, and also the accuracy of it, and who's listed on your plates.
My side plates are all brass, apparently. The ones with the names, so I can clean them, but I don't want to because I'm afraid I don't want to like mark anything else up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you look on my Facebook tonight, after we do our show, you'll see I posted my New Japan belts.
I saw that just before we popped on, man. That's a nice set.
Yeah, 3 of those are by Arham. 1 was by X-Man.
Nice.
Yeah, the US one was by X-Man.
Right on.
And then the other 3 were by Arham. So yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, I love those New Japan belts. And to be honest, the belts that I've seen from Japan, the different Japanese promotions have always been better to me than a lot of the North American looking belts.
I'm a huge fan of Japanese wrestling going back to the mid '80s. So like I've been watching New Japan Pro Wrestling and All Japan Pro Wrestling and Noah and a lot of the other federations over there from quite a while now. So I love all those titles. I love the All Japan. I love the Triple Can, the original Triple Crown.
Yeah.
The 3 belts, the cast belts, and I love the new version too, the 2018 Triple Crown belt, which is the golden black sort of stack belt. I love that too. I have that in the other room as well. Love that belt. Love the Noah belts too. So
yeah. I was looking forward to getting those belts made and actually have.
Hell yeah, absolutely, Ben. Hell yeah,
absolutely.
Ichiban.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. There's just such a really, because Japanese wrestling is always still, even now, culturally always been treated as a sport.
Yeah.
It never really was ever not treated as a sport, even when Vince McMahon was going public and saying that this is all a work and it's sports
Yeah.
entertainment. Japan was still always treating it like a sports competition. So their belts look like trophies. They look like championships.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And that's one of the things I think where it's attractive to the, like, I'm a sports fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love hockey. I watch soccer. I watch baseball. I've even watched the World Cup of rugby. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I like different sports. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I love wrestling, because I also love movies. I love acting. I love, as you know, I'm not a theater guy like you, but I do love it. I do love the theater. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's anyways. And that's where I love how they tie that in wrestling, where it's sports and theater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just. And in Japan, when they make it more sport, I do like, there's just something cool about the Japanese culture. Like everything they do so many things cool, like that, like their businesses, they don't fire you. They move you to a different department and like where you'd help the company best. Like when I first heard that, I heard that like 20 or 30 years ago. And I was like, when I was a kid, I was like, what? And like,
Mm-hmm.
Anime, I was always a big fan of that in the 80s.
Honors is still a huge part of the culture.
Yeah.
Especially in Japan. And
samurai. I was always fascinated with the samurai. I was always fascinated with the ninja. And like when we were kids, I don't know about you, but ninja culture was like, it was cool, right?
I don't know how you could grow up in the 80s and not love ninjas. So
yeah, exactly, right? Like every other movie was like had something to do with ninjas. And then Ninja Turtles and yeah, for
sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No, love Japanese wrestling, really gotten into all of a sudden too the last couple of years. A show came out on Netflix recently, which was sort of a Japanese drama about sumo.
Yeah.
And so started getting went down a big rabbit hole of sumo wrestling and stuff like that, which I know is a tangent from what we're talking about. But I just love the culture. Love the culture. Love the way they treat sports. Love the way they treat their athletes. Love it all. Yeah.
You know what? One of the coolest things too about the World Cup was the Japanese and Korean fans were cleaning up the stadiums.
Yeah.
And like they're just such cool people.
Yeah.
I've always been like, they don't. If you went, so like I'm a video game collector, as you know, and I've not shared my games room off, which is on that side of the camera. And I learned that their old technology, they don't like throw it out or trash it. They take care of it, repurpose it, and if people want to buy it, they can buy it. Like old tech. It's like they recycle it, refurbish it. They don't just trash stuff.
No.
So I just thought that was really, it's just so different, right? Like,
yeah, super cool. What don't you collect?
What don't I collect? I collect a lot of shit, Cedric. I have
guitars,
like 20 guitars.
Yeah, amps.
No, I never collected amps. Thank God.
Never into amps. Yeah.
I have like one or two, but I never. Yeah.
7 maker belts I gave to my daughter. One's a smoking skull, 2mm brass with a swoosh under the WMB adders and some white stones. The other is a WCW brass. It's turning black. The rest are part of my collection. Dome globe, 2 big eagle block, and a scratch WWIC and scratch out. That's a good collection, man. That's an awesome collection.
Yeah, I like all those belts.
Yeah, that's an awesome collection.
Yeah,
and in this hobby, having 80 belts or having 2 belts, that's the great thing about this hobby, is that you're if you love belts and you love wrestling, you're in it, and it doesn't matter if you own 1 or you own 80.
Yeah,
honestly, yeah.
And like, I think sometimes there's a niceness to quality over quantity. Like,
yeah. Like, and everybody's different. Like some people want to own every belt they see, and some people have a very specific list, and they buy specific belts at for specific reasons, and everybody's got their own their own plan for it. So Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that's one of the things I like about it too, is when and it was actually in Big Boys Belts, Nick Carnival and Chris Sutton's group. They had a saying there, and I think it applies, is that it didn't matter if it was cardboard or classic shields. It's just, it's just respect the hobby, respect each other. And because, some people, I hate negativity, and I hate when I see someone get a belt and then people trash on it.
Yeah.
Trash on that.
Yeah. No, and there's no reason to do that. And for me, it's just like these conversations we're having tonight with everybody online here tonight, which we love having you guys here talking and interacting and having these conversations. To me, this is why I'm in the hobby. Like it's the interactions. It's why I do the quizzes on the page. It's why I do the Friday Fantasy bookings. It's why we do the podcasts. It's the interaction and the communication and the brotherhood that means more to me than ring accuracy or any of the other foolishness that gets tossed around sometimes. So whatever that means. So I guess ring accurate meaning like it's got enough beer stain and been scratched up and beat up and dragged around and stinks like an old gear bag. You mean that kind of ring accurate? Because that's what they would have been like in the 70s when they were dragging them around the back roads of the U.S. Territory. So
and Canada.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's funny too, as you came through the wrestling school where I'm training, a couple of like the head bookers and a couple of the guys that have been in the industry, in the business for some time, just look at them as props, right? Like they don't, it's like, they don't, we're more, as collectors, we're belt marks. Like we care more about the prestige or the lineage. These guys don't as much. And it was kind of interesting to see it, right? Like they don't care as much. And some of them do, like some companies, the booker will put the title on himself. And that's an old practice because they don't want to invest in a prop and then have it fucking stolen or something, or taken over by Stan Hansen, a la Stan Hansen, right, with his truck. But
right on. Well, that's it, I think, for us tonight, my friend.
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. Yeah.
And Scott, we'll finish up with Scott's comment. Love the hobby, love the people in it. If you like belts or belts, you have it all good, rather it be brass, ink, paper, plastic, store-bought, or homemade. Amen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All belts are welcome. All people are welcome. Definitely on our page, that's the case, and certainly on all of the great pages like Ben's page and Cedric's page and the various other pages that have great people in the hobby, and it doesn't take long to figure out who that is. And just enjoy the collecting, enjoy the friendships, enjoy the community, and enjoy the wrestling and the belts. That's it, really.
Enjoy life.
Enjoy, man. Life's too short. There's too many things to worry about in life. The hobby shouldn't be one of them. So
I agree, brother. I agree. Yeah. Thanks for doing all the work you do, buddy.
Oh, my pleasure, my man. So we're sorry we couldn't bring you Arham tonight. It just didn't work out with with the time difference, but we were definitely going to fix that for next time. Yeah, as Ben Walker says, keep it drama free, sucker free. Leave it better than you found it. Amen.
Amen.
Best words, best way to end the show, honestly. Bell Talk is the only exception. They hate boots. We don't need to worry about them. Let's leave it with Ben. I like it. Keep it drama free, sucker free. Leave it better than you found it. That's a great way to think about it. So we're going to leave you guys with that tonight. Yeah. We will definitely have ourselves a guest on next week, and we'll get that organized. So definitely come check us out again next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. Tony and I will be here talking belts, talking wrestling, and hanging out with you guys. We hope you all have an amazing week. Tony, anything you want to say before we go?
Just peace, love, and happiness, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Peace. Hopefully.